Folks, hey, ladies and germs.
Get that New York accent in there. That's right.
Ladies
and germs.
Ladies and germs. Holy smokes. Anyway, it's great to see you, Blake. Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Friday already, man. That is crazy. Anyway, welcome aboard for another episode here. It was funny. Billboard Chris was talking. I guess one of the articles that came out was I guess something like they saying, oh, we don't have the funding to go dig up the bodies at these residential schools where the genocide supposedly occurred of all the native people. Now, so anyway, Chris goes, look, I'll dig for free. If it's funding that you're worried about, you can't afford, I'll dig up bodies for free. He knows there's nothing there. And so I said, well, I'll help. I said, I'm quarter Native American, so that'll help you with the indigenous factor. Get some indigenous cred going. I'm quarter Native and look the part. And so he said, yeah, thanks. We just need truth out there. So it was kind of fun to have an exchange with a high profile patriot like Billboard Chris. He's big on the gender reassignment surgery.
Of course, children.
Yeah, well, children especially, but overall, I mean, he sees it as a deception, as a lie, and not based in truth. So I would have to agree with him. To me, it's a mental illness, a mental condition. That part of it's all real, very real. And I don't know the exact mechanics of why it goes the way it goes or how it manifests, et cetera, et cetera. But regardless, it is a real condition, right? People suffer from it, and you want to see people treated. And there may be better ways of treating individuals with this condition other than sexual reassignment surgeries, hormones, etc. Right? So we'll leave that there. But anyway, Billboard Chris, very high profile in that regard. And so it was kind of fun just to have an exchange with the guy. You go, hey, Rach, or just a little banter back and forth. We should try and get him on the show, but we just really don't have the views to justify getting a guy like him. But if we were, he would certainly be one of the people I reach out to. Okay, Blake, we got so much going on. The big story today: Canada enters a recession. They're calling it a technical recession. CBC, CTV, but some of the pundits, people on our side of the aisle, are probably saying it's more bullshit than anything else. That it's an actual recession. It's not, quote, a technical recession. It's a bona fide recession. Canada's economy in real trouble. So let's play the clip, and then we'll get your thoughts on this. And of note here is Mark Carney with the appeal to MAGA. I couldn't believe it. Nobody can believe it. Listen for yourselves. Here he is, the Prime Minister of Canada. I'll get the thing here and make it a little larger for the friends at home. And let's see how we're looking on the TV show. Well, that's lovely. And then can I make it bigger, Mark? Well, anyway, it goes, Canada enters recession. Mark Carney told America's business leaders that Canada is strong, will help make America great again. What? Less than 24 hours later, stats can confirm Canada's entered a, quote, tactical recession. Reality is finally hit. Let's go big. Let's get the volume up.
Oh, this is from last year, isn't it? So we'll see.
Is this last year? Well, April
26th.
Okay, 2025. I want the one from today. Let's go.
Yeah, that's the one. He's speaking in New York.
MAGA. Okay, let's go, Carney MAGA. Let's see.
Yeah.
Is he
there? It is. There he is.
Okay, is that the one?
That's the one.
Okay, it's 1:14. I do apologize that we have to listen to this clown that long, but it is what it is. Okay, we're on the right page. We got everything going. It looks beautiful. Here he is, Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney.
Electricity imports, 60% of crude oil imports. That is mutual strength. Let's be absolutely clear. Canada Strong will help make America great again. Whose founding values of liberty, democracy, justice, and openness should continue to serve as guides to its future and the future of the world. That future should include a new partnership with Canada, a true partnership that reimagines cooperation in specific sectors that are...
Okay, he's done his bit. He's politicking there. But the thing to be announced. Welcome, Steve. How you doing? Howdy, buddy. The little howdy wave. The thing there is a MAGA comment, certainly appealing to Trump. He knows that Democrats aren't going to. Who's his speechwriter that goes, hey, who thought it would be a good idea to throw MAGA in there? MAGA is absolutely seen as a demonic mantra by the left.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're Dracula, oh, I'll just bring my cross into the room and a little holy water and we'll see how we get in. You mind if I open the window? I need a little more sunlight here.
Yeah.
And they're all going, make America great again, guaranteed to repulse leftists, left and left. I'd say left, right, and center, but there's no truth in it. Just left.
Farther left.
So the remarkable thing, not only does he have the audacity to mention the term make America great again, but on top of that, he's talking about closer ties with America of a shared vision, shared resources, strong Canada-America ties. Yeah. It's goofy because his whole ploy has been, let's go to Europe and Europe. We're going to become part of the EU and all this. So he's talking out of one side of the mouth. He's doing a Chrétien. Anyway, I can't make side nor sense of it. Blake, maybe you can. What the hell is going on with Mark Carney?
Well, Mark Carney is, as I said, all along, this guy is playing both sides of the fence. He is a hedge manager's hedge manager. He is hedging all over the place because he knows he was waiting to see what would happen to MAGA. He think maybe, they could get to the midterms. If he could just wait it out, he would get supportive allies, including rhinos, not just Democrats, that would stop the tariffs against Canada. But it's reading into his speech. I think you have to understand. I think anybody watching what he says, he is a classic bureaucrat. He is maybe the most skilled at saying absolutely nothing and yet everything all in the same line, right? You cannot tell what he is trying to say because it could be taken any different direction in the language he's using. But I like to read between the lines because I like the idea of follow the money, right? So if you're following the money, you'll find that usually the truth will be there. If you're looking at the intent of what they're trying to do, what's been happening over the last number of years, this woke nonsense. And I'm not talking about woke nonsense within the public sector, which is infected with this maple Maoism in Canada and also in the US. They've got the same problem, but they're definitely changing fast and moving away from it while Canada stays within its bureaucratic class. But Canada is a nation of hewers of wood and drawers of water. We're a resource extraction colony. That's how these guys envision us. They don't like us having a democratic say. They've never liked it. Going all the way back from the Hudson's Bay Company. It was more of a necessity because the expansionism of the United States, these people in Canada, the managers of Canada, because that's kind of what we have. We don't really have a true government of the people for the people. No will of the people.
We got a governor general.
We've got a queen's, formerly queen, now king's representative that's running the crown colony country of Canada, the illusion that we have actually have a country.
Yeah.
But the point is that this is how they've treated Canada since 1867 when they formed it out of desperation to retain control of these lands. Otherwise, U.S. expansionism. I mean, what happened in 1867? America took over Alaska, right? They bought Alaska from the Russians. Russians were geopolitical war with and enemies of the United Kingdom of England. So if you kind of look all the way back, why these guys are where they are today, this is where they sit. So we have this sort of narrow spot that's easily to manipulate and control Canadian policy. Right? It's a bureaucratic state run by bureaucratic corporate class, both in business and in government. We actually technically even though people may argue the point. But technically, by definition, Canada is a fascist state. I mean, when you mix the both corporate, you got crown corporations, you got private corporations, but now it's so intermixed with this toxic blend of people that are working in the public sector, and their pensions and the public service union pensions, the pension plans are intertwined with Canadian policy on how corporations run here, supply management. All of this is all intertied. And then, of course, they got activists that moved within the corporate activist side of using those pension funds from unionists to push their socialist, Marxist, Maoist, whatever you want to call it, agenda into this woke madness that over the last decade that was just expanded on steroids under Trudeau. And I think that's kind of where we're at, at this point, where America went one way with that. U.S. is going
they're going
a better direction.
They're going.
Canada went the other direction and says, no, we're going to double down on this. But I think Carney, when he comes in, he is trying to find, I've got a bunch of idiots to govern here in Canada, because that's his mindset. He's an elitist, right? That's what he thinks. You guys are just a bunch of morons. You'll believe what I tell you, because I just have to run a bunch of slogans like elbows up and you'll buy it. And it's about your pension money and it's about your jobs in the government. Because it's really, they're there to protect the civil service. They don't give a rat's ass about the rest of us. Honestly, they don't. They own it all, and you'll own nothing. That is where this all came from. From the mind of Carney, was part of the group that wrote that whole global perspective of what they wanted to see under the Great Reset. But that's failing. So now Carney, he's been playing both sides of the fence. So what he says literally a month ago, that we're never going to spend money in the U.S. to support Canadian defense ever again, essentially, and paraphrasing in the entire speech to the Liberal conference, their AGM, I guess it was, their annual conference. But anyways, to roars of cheers from their Marxist left audience that have been there. But that's who he's speaking to. I don't think Carney's a Marxist. I think he's a crony capitalist. He doesn't like to lose, and that's typically the sense of crony capitalism versus true capitalism. Everybody shares, takes a chance, takes a risk. It's like the arena of ideas. It gets chewed up, and it's very it's very a dog eat dog kind of world. Yeah, but you win by your hard work and ethics and good ideas. Where crony capitalism's not good ideas. It's essentially a system that Canada is.
You game this.
You get legislative protections for your industry, right? And in a lot of cases in Canada, those industries have been taken over or highly controlled and manipulated to one side under crown corporations.
Yeah, it becomes political, right?
So these corporations are at arm's length of the government, right? So they call them crown corporations owned by the government. And so there's so much representation here, where 40% of Canadians are tied to either directly as working for the public service in whatever shape levels of government, or they're indirectly through crown corporations, through contracts and subsidies and all that, through private sector contracting through the government. So essentially they've become wards of the state companies that live off government contracting of some form or another. So they're never going to speak up against government, because it's still the hands that feed, even though they'll claim they're private business. Canada is an interesting web of this toxic system that keeps people held back, because if they don't profit from it, you're not allowed to do it, right? If you're just underneath the fringes as a private business person and you got a good idea and you start rolling with it, you'll be allowed to go for a while if it's not impacting them. But as soon as you start to impact them, guess what? That's when you feel the full weight of them coming after you. They do all kinds of stuff to break it. And this is kind of Carney's world, right? Carney is taking their money and investing it and managing those investments through Brookfield, right? We talk about the asset manager class.
Yeah.
So he is trying to go to the US. He knows that there's the only way he's going to get a deal. He's got a deadline coming up in July over Kuzma. That's coming up. America could pull out. He's got a midterm election that's not looking good for him, which I'm sure we're going to get into in our show here. And what's interesting, and I still point to this, is that Carney was quasi endorsed by Trump, right? And Trump isn't a guy who gives up his endorsements easily. He's not the type of person that usually, if he doesn't care, he just won't say anything about it at all. You won't even get his attention. But if there's something of interest to him, he'll say something and he'll endorse it. And he essentially endorsed Carney last year and during the election. He says, I like the liberal guy. You know, he seems to be a nice guy. He kind of, this is the CBC paraphrasing their article, that this is exactly what he came out and said. And we saw the video and the whole works when he was asked about it. And he said he didn't like PP, which is, you know, Pierre Poilievre. He says, that guy, I don't like him. I don't really know him, but what he said, he's no friend of mine, kind of thing, right?
Tell the Americans who Poilievre is.
Yeah,
and
so leading into
right?
the election, he's a leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. He was in a position to have a landslide victory. Literally, the polls were showing the Liberals may be annihilated, almost as bad as the Progressive Conservatives were in 1993, where they were down to 2 seats. That's how bad they got wiped out after Mulroney left. Remember, and Kim Campbell came in.
Yeah.
First Canadian women prime minister, was a drop-in parachute to take the heat and die.
Yeah,
couldn't salvage any of the votes. She was there to watch the ship go down under the water, and they were down to 2 seats and were wiped out. So that's what the Liberals were going to end up with. But somehow Trump helped prop up Carney and the Liberals and essentially gave them the slogan to win, which is fascinating. But, you know, Trump's a business guy, and that's how we got to think. People think, he's not a classic politician. He's all business when he thinks. When he sees these guys like Brookfield and BlackRock and all these guys running around the world with their money, and he basically, I think he took a lash to those guys and said, enough's enough with this WF crap. We're not going to the great reset the world. We're not moving to a Chinese social credit system. That's over. It's MAGA moving forward. We're making America great again. We're reinforcing all of the point that America will lead the future, not this China-Euro idea of a new world order under a digital currency and you'll own nothing and be happy garbage. Which is basically a consolidation of power, of control of the corporate class into the hands of a few, which is the direction. So Trump came in, he's blowing this up, but Carney's their guy on that side. So really, he's the general. He is the, he is their version of their soothsayer. He's their prophet.
He's a figure of more substance, let's say, despite all his weaknesses. And they're glaring, but despite all of that, Carney's a more high-profile figure than Pierre Poilievre, and so perhaps on that level, Trump they
annihilated him. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Poilievre still got more votes, but they still came out with the same scenario, which was a minority government. He didn't win. Yeah. He didn't win because he didn't know how to fight that kind of. He decided to go. He's got all his guys yapping in his Bay Street, which is Toronto, ears. Those guys in Ontario telling him what to say. This is what you need to do, and they failed. And that's the problem with the leader. Yeah. Trump doesn't need a guy yapping in his ear to say what he wants to say. He doesn't need to be handled or managed because he can't manage him.
Yeah,
you can't manage him.
The thing with Poilievre is that he wasn't endorsing Trump. He was an idiot and spoke against Trump. And basically, the Liberals do better at yelling at Trump rather than the conservatives.
Yeah,
it's like Rhino versus Democrat going after Trump. Let the Dems handle it. They're better at it than the Rhinos are. The Rhinos try, but they're a little anemic, because they aren't they aren't radical enough. You got to go full, do your hair color and just go out there, get a little wacky, get a little crazy.
But Trump knows Carney's position in the world, right? He's not some nobody, right? Some Canadian guy that like Pierre Poilievre that nobody knows, right? he was a cabinet minister. He was an undersecretary kind of level of guy. If you want to look to our American friends, he was never a top tier leader under the Harper for 10 years when Harper was our prime minister.
And he attacked Trump. So if you're going to pick your opponent, why not get the bigger fish? Go for the bigger name, the bigger star, the more recognition. Trump being a big guy,
well,
you know.
They failed on. I mean, the regime media still show they had power in Canada at a certain age, but the point is Poilievre was a nobody to Trump, right? He has no power, he has no influence in the mind of his mind. He's a guy who's going, no, I'm talking to the guy who's a central banker who runs the WF, essentially is one of their top generals. He's the guy that sits with Klaus Schwab and the central bankers of the world. He sits with Larry Fink and the boys from BlackRock, and these guys work with trillions of dollars.
So he puts Canada on the map for all the wrong reasons. Now we're actually worth being contended with. That we're making the giant of the United States actually orientate towards us. Look at what's going on here. And say, we're going to have to deal with you, China.
Well, and the fact that Carney even said during the election that China was the biggest geopolitical threat to Canada and the world. I even back then last year, and he's kind of flipped back and forth. He's really putting on an act. This guy, as I said, he's a classic bureaucrat within the elite class of central bankers of the world. You watch what he's doing. He knows how to surf those waves. He just knows how to go at just enough to stay afloat and never tell you what you want to hear on either side. But you could take what he says both ways. So you can guarantee that I'm sure the regime media is out there today. I don't watch them trying to explain Mark's words as no, that's not what he meant. But if you actually listen to what he's still saying, we need to reimagine. Like this is Democratic talking points. That's coming from them. They're trying to placate. The whole the term reimagine was stuff that's used by leftists when you try to reimagine economies. But he's saying those relationships and sectors. You notice he even said in that speech, certain sectors, that's about Canadian supply management. So he's trying to say we should make a deal where we can make a deal and where we can't, right? That's kind of that kind of language because he's got a problem. He's got these unionists and politicians in Quebec and Ontario. They're highly entrenched. Government workers are highly entrenched within their crown corporations and these crown monopolies where the Americans are not allowed to come in and trade and compete without a massive tariff. These tariffs existed before Trump's tariffs. So this is where he's trying to navigate. But I do think, and I'm no fan of Carney at all, but I do think he is trying to walk because what's the term in the Bible? You got to give them milk before you give them meat, right? Essentially the Canadian population. If Carney came out last year and says, "Okay, I'm going to negotiate with Trump, and we're going to economically merge with the United States officially. We're going to become part of Fortress North America and all that," what would happen to the Canadian leftists and the woke culture that's built in? They would go ballistic. Right? They would go absolutely melt.
They wouldn't handle it well.
So I think he's giving them milk, right? As he's going through this process, he's feeding their anti-Americanism, their anti-capitalist kind of perspective. He's feeding them a little bit of their woke stuff, but I think the meat's coming out now. It's going to start rolling, and it's basically you will die on the vine if you do not make this change. We cannot have a North America where Canada becomes a Cuba, because we're about to see Cuba become a massive explosion of freedom. And that's going to happen under Trump's presidency. And Canada can't go the other direction. It won't be allowed to happen. And Canada's already going to dissolve internally. It won't become a Cuba. It's too big to manage. You got too many regions that have its own interests. It can't sustain itself. It doesn't have a constitution that is equal, where in the U.S. you have an equalizer. So Carney's I think he's walking this, the milk for the lefties has been fed to them. The meat's coming soon.
Let's give you some milk right now. You were wondering, you say, I don't know about all what's happening with the media. We've got the media for you here, Blake. I'll bring them in for you because this is going to help you understand what they're saying. Carney, New York, strong Canada contributes to make America great again. So to MAGA. Carney in Canada, elbows up, rupture with the U.S. It's over. CBC panel. Let's take a look at Rosie Barton.
Today sounds familiar.
She is our version of Walter Cronkite. Absolutely.
No, that's being too nice. She is the chief.
She is our Walter Cronkite. She is a legend, Blake. We love her. And look at this panel of lesbian and activists, all sorts of stuff. Let's see how we get on.
See, I'm going to start with you. A lot of what the Prime Minister said today sounded familiar. Some of it sort of made me raise an eyebrow, particularly that last line there about a strong Canada making America great again. And I wondered what you made of that and who you think he was actually talking to there.
I think he was talking to Americans. I think the Prime Minister has developed a tendency to adjust his message, sometimes in conflicting ways, depending on the audience that he is speaking to.
It's called pandering. The word you're looking for
is it is increasingly, I think, becoming obvious to Canadians that there's some elasticity in his message, shall we say, in terms of, on the one hand, you have the elbows up message. You have the framing of the Davos speech where the rupture is a relationship between Canada's relationship vis-a-vis the United States. You have a very important narrative that is set out there that has brought public support for things that previously were more controversial, like pipeline approval and speeding up assessments for other natural resource projects. And on the other hand, you have the message he delivered today, which in the case, the word rupture here was about the global order and the world, not about the relationship of Canada vis-a-vis the United States. We had a little bit of this floating in the fall. Remember when they were talking about sectoral tariff relief on the 232 tariffs?
All right. So basically what they're doing, he says his message changes according to the language, the audience he's talking to. It's called pandering.
That's called lying, too.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, they are scrambling to try and make sense out of this and spin it in a way that's positive for Carney and the Liberal Party. Do you see, are they succeeding with their messaging? I mean, certainly it's lost on you and me. We just laugh at it. But what about the elbows up crowd? Are they going to buy into that and go, oh yeah, Carney's, he's just this mess. He had to soften it because he's talking America.
I think elbows up now is got a serious problem. I think they're essentially what I've described on X. I posted some stuff on that yesterday, calling it that they're now in full erectile dysfunction. Hopefully, maybe Brookfield has some pharmaceutical investments in Canada. They can.
They can't get the elbows.
Yeah, they're permanently down. Yeah. So. But yeah, I mean, you watch the look on their faces when you watch Rosie O'Donnell right off the bat. I'm a people reader. One of the first signs is blinky that they're not telling the truth. They know they're full of shit. As soon as they start blinking rapidly, but there's a problem when they're talking. It means they're reading off a script and they're lying. They know it's bullshit. And that whatever it is from the Toronto Star is a far left lunatic rag out of Toronto. The only people who read it are NDP types and socialists within the Liberal Party. Nobody else outside of that reads that piece of crap. But yeah, it's watching them dance to try and make it sound anything other than Carney is now reading the tea leaves in front of them or saying this experiment we tried to do on the world, which has costed people their lives. And it has this one world order under the WF's perspective with their, with their priesthood that were trying to tell us that we would own nothing and be happy is now failing. It's collapsing. And he has to do what he has to do. He's there for the money. He's got a Brookfield Corporation, his investment.
So how does he come back to Canada then? Does he just lie some more and start reorienting with elbows up, or is he going to soften his messaging at all? Or where is he going to turn? How's he going to finesse this?
Well, I think he's done the first step this past week. He got Guilbeault to step down. Guilbeault was the figurehead of the Trudeau government, the pinnacle voice for
Yeah.
the extreme left
Trudeau's
of the
right-hand
party.
man, right?
See, that guy should have ran for the NDP, but he didn't, because Trudeau brought him in. He was his buddy, and he was all full with his globalist. But he was part of that. They thought they would win. Now Carney's coming in and say, how do we fix this problem? Our globalist vision of the world is collapsing. How do we do this? So start getting rid of the dead weight voices that were one of your most powerful voices that were causing the Liberal Party to become this far left party. They were the NDP, essentially. They were taking all of the NDP's win. That's why the NDP is down to 7 seats. It's because the Liberal Party has become the NDP, which is a far left socialist Maoist.
Yeah, really true. A very good point, Blake.
They've annihilated it, and I think Jagmeet Singh was part of that. So what does Carney do? I think they worked out, because you have to understand the Liberal Party, people, if you're not from Canada. They may be the most Machiavellian political organization ever. They scheme things out that is just brutal. And yeah, the Conservatives do it, but the Conservatives are a tough group to manage because they're like herding cats. But Liberals, they're lockstep, they're socialists. That's kind of where they are now. And you know, the Liberal Party used to be a classical Liberal Party. Now they're just another NDP party on steroids, where they just have people who follow. They just obey, because these aren't leaders, right? Socialists are never real leaders. They're just basically followers. Most of their people are dependents, right? They're dependency people. So essentially you've got this, he's got to try and move that needle over. And I think he's done that. Getting rid of Stephen Guilbeault was a message to the Liberal establishment in Canada. We can no longer be this way. I think he's going to slowly start walking back all the climate bullshit policies.
Well,
I think that's the other thing. Because we have so much stuff here in Canada. Canada is one of the last countries in the world pushing this crap. And the G7, we are it. Everyone else is moving. Germany's announced they want to open up relations. They've got a party that's going to probably win power soon, who wants to end all these stupid wars within the Ukraine and Russia, and wants to reopen the relationship with Russia.
Love to see it.
And it makes no sense that, you know, Canada announced through British Columbia that we're going to be sending LNG shipments to Germany. That's so bloody far. How does that make sense geographically? It's costly to ship from BC's coast in the Pacific all the way to Germany without a pipeline, which we couldn't even get to the east coast of Canada through internal conflicts we have here. So, yeah, all of this is playing out. I think we're watching the final death throes of the new world order under the WF, where now the old world order it's collapsing. And it really does come down to our ladies at Promethean Action, I think, calling it out. It's the collapse of the power of that Club of Rome, that, you know, gang out of the City of London financial elite who thought they could control the global agenda from the old empire, right? And that old empire is crumbling. And I think Trump has got them, because he's saying, we're the new empire. We're in control of our own destiny. We're not going to allow the old British Empire to dictate what we're going to do. And nor is Russia, nor is China, nor any of them. And all of it have been highly manipulated. The Middle East, highly manipulated by this old European elite order. And let's face it, why? Because they're a continent that drew in resources. That's why. That's why you hear Trump saying, why doesn't England open up the North Sea oil? Like, it doesn't make sense that they have stagnated their own oil fields. I mean, look at Norway, makes a fortune off of it, right? Norway probably would be a basket case economically if they didn't have a sovereign wealth fund tied to their oil revenues. They were like Alberta was, pulling out huge amounts of money and taking those royalties and putting it in to subsidize the future of their people. Which is a smart agenda. I think any government should do that. If you have the resource royalties, then do it. You should be pooling that money. But problem is, in Canada, we did that. And what do? They spend it and then borrow against it until there's nothing left. But yeah, fascinating time to be alive watching Canada, I think, being walked into MAGA. You know, from the side, I've said this all along, it would have to come from the left in Canada. It has to come from the left, because the lefties in Canada are too numerically large, too dependent off the system. They choke. They would choke on that meat right off the bat, no pun intended.
Make hockey great again.
Yeah, that's what I've pointed out. Some hockey people here said maybe a Canadian team would actually win the Stanley Cup again once we're joined up with the United States, because we have not won the Cup since it went full America in 1993 with Bettman coming in, which was the last year. Bettman's first year was the last year Canada had a cup come to one of its teams.
All right, we'll have a little fun. We're about the halfway point of the show, just over the halfway point. Yeah. So here's a little comedy bit, a couple of lighter notes. This is kind of a wild one. I want to get the right source. Yeah, there it is. This is from our Canadian source, Table Salt. That's a good account. Let me grab the clip. Table Salt. This this is a meme that it went out a while back, Blake, and it showed Justin Trudeau, and they've done kind of segues playing with Justin's face. I'll see if I can do it. Let me see if I can just, while that's there, go out on the interwebs and get Justin and Castro. Castro. And
I wonder if you can get access to Castro's ancestry connection in.
Well, I mean, here's the deal: if they were ever to, geez, he looks like him. If they were ever to do the thing where they did DNA testing, yeah, if she tested Justin, it would prove it right away. It would prove it right away.
I have no doubt. I'm going to put that right out there. I think he is.
Okay, well, we're going to do the clip. Now, I had to take that one down for a sec because it's the same thing. Hang on. Let's go here, stop this. And then I want to share this one just so you get the idea where it came from, because Castro's daughter herself was asked about it. So first of all, I want to show you the picture, the side by side. And there's more than what I'm showing you here. This is just kind of a quick synopsis. A quick look. Let's go full scale on this. Come on. Be good. There you go. Full scale. And so here you go. Castro's daughter says that Justin Trudeau is her. She doesn't really say that. She does not say that Justin's her half brother. We'll play the clip of what she does say. Here's Justin, obviously Fidel. Even this look, like there's pictures of Justin tilting his head, that very angle, looking with that smile, like the smile's freaking identical. He looks a lot like Fidel, but it doesn't look. I'm not going to give it a retweet or a repost because it's not actually accurate. She doesn't say it outright. But then, but we do have Fidel's sister, Fidel's daughter, talking and addressing the very questions. So let's go from there. But I just want to show you that for the similarity in the phenotype, i.e., how they look. And now we'll do this. Okay, Fidel's Castro daughter, Elena Fernandez, suggested Justin Trudeau might be her half brother. She hints at it. She doesn't even. Yeah, she suggests it's a hint. His mother used to visit the island quite often. They asked the question point blank. Let's go to the clip and let's see how it plays out.
Half brother. What do you think of that?
The only thing I can say is that his mother used to visit the country very often.
Well, that may be a tell then. I guess that's a half answer.
All right. So during the course of this short clip, they ask, is he the half brother? And she doesn't deny it and go, there's no way in hell. Like you'd think somebody with the leader of the storied, legendary leader of Cuba, Fidel Castro, the Iron Man, and to have his legend be smirched by fooling around with some starfucker. Excuse my French, but I'm getting heated up apparently.
Yeah.
Because Margaret Trudeau is famous for dalliances with Mick Jagger. She was a teapot girl.
The whole band apparently in 1974.
Charlie's on tonight. But anyway, so you've got. She was crazy. She loved hanging around the rock stars, did all that. So the celebrity and the idea of maybe bagging Fidel, maybe that was a big catch for her.
Well, apparently,
the head of a nation like that, Fidel, and being
and he was famous. He was a
and he's
cult phenomenon
and
for
he's a
the
beauty.
young left.
He's a lovely commie bastard.
Yeah.
So if you did the DNA, but I just found it remarkable that here's Castro's own daughter, and she does not deny it. All she says, she actually adds a little maybe unintentional, maybe intentional fuel to the fire by going, well, she did visit a hell of a lot. Kind of like anybody that knew anything here knew what was going on. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more, say no more.
Well, the liberal gatekeepers to the Trudeau legacy world, because that's really the only thing they stand on. They hold on to Pet like he's like their god, because he was the prime minister that changed the Liberal Party from being a classical liberal party to a left wing, far left, and eventually eroded into what it is today.
Oh, yeah.
You see, as a Marxist party, basically.
Pierre Elliott Trudeau was bad. He was a commie. We all know he was a commie at heart. So for me, so you've already come out earlier, a little bit of spoiler. Blake going, he's solidly in. You think there may be some veracity to the report?
Well, what was interesting is they were trying to say, well, Justin was born in 1971. There was never an official visit by Trudeau and Margaret until 1974, I think they said, or 75.
Yeah.
And they were already on a rocky kind of relationship, but apparently this is where they try to mask it under this official visit. They had been buddies.
Get her there in 1970. We need her.
They've been there doing that, but apparently, again, allegedly, I don't know how accurate this is, but apparently the Trudeaus, Pierre and Margaret, had a swinging lifestyle. They were swingers. So that was apparently quite known. I can't confirm that. It's only from what I've read or what people have brought up, but allegedly they were swingers. And that was a normal thing because Pierre could go do what he wanted to do, and she could go do what she wanted to do, and with who they wanted to. So they spend a lot of time down there. And we know Trudeau Sr. was very much supportive of Castro. Matter of fact, Fidel showed up to Pierre Elliott Trudeau's funeral. You remember, in Canada. And he was wearing his military garb, as we all know him. He didn't even wear a suit. He kept wearing his thing. But he came to Quebec, and he was there as part with the family. So it just seems odd that there was such this tight connection between the Castro family and Trudeau family. And we know with family secrets that happens. You're a genealogist, right? This is flat out happens a lot more than most people think.
Yeah, I'm working on a case exactly like that right now, a paternal case.
I think, what my opinion is, they know, right? And there's no doubt Justin would know, but he was raised, I think it's kind of like they were treated like the royal family of Canada. They were. People need to understand, Trudeau phenomenon became like Beatlemania for Canada. They were able to build up Trudeau's legacy as this, almost, as I said, like the Beatles. He was so popular with the young, and he was older. He was way older than the hippies of the 60s and 70s. He was a decade older than them. You were supposed to not trust anyone over 30, except for Pierre Elliott Trudeau, who is this hero to the young coming out of college.
He was, because he was kind of a mod, hip kind of PM prime minister.
And remember his little pirouette he did behind the Queen and in Australia, and the what was it? The one finger salute, and
John and Yoko had a visit.
Hanging out in Montreal, and their big sleep in, having in there. But anyways, the point was people loved Trudeau here like he was some kind of cult hero, and they made the family into this sort of almost like a sanctified religious type,
like our version of the Kennedys, I guess. The closest.
It was
Kennedys,
and they're fanatical. And they were fanatical. The point is, they wouldn't see any flaws in this, and I think this would be to bury the facts. But you know what? If highly unlikely, Justin would see this, and he should just come out and say so now. At this point in his life, he's never going to be back in politics. He's dancing around the world with Katy Perry now. He could go and he could just say, I am Castro's son, and can I join La Raza?
I want Big Mike. Okay, I have a challenge for Big Mike on the same basis. Like, I want Big Mike to, for all the trans women, this would be a big catch for us. If Big Mike could come out and just say, look, I'm one of you, okay? I'm just one of you. Come on, fellas. Like, let's get it together. Anyway.
I think Big Mike is still on the shelf as a Democratic nominee for president still.
Okay, so they aren't going to do the reveal yet. Well, I hope they will. I hope they will soon, because Big Mike could help a lot of the trans sisters out by going, that's our role model. All right. Justin Trudeau is not attractive at all. Kimba is out there. A big hit. Not a Castro fan, Kimba. All right.
Remember he had his beard and his hair, longer hair during COVID. He kind of started to go for that sort of swashbuckler.
Yes, he did. All right. Well, it's not that one. I want cancel this one. I want this one out. Yeah. Gunther Eagleman. We like Gunther. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the big stories everybody's following is what's going on in Iran. The Democrats are using it as ammunition against the president. There's war. What's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Trump is working on it. I have every confidence in the president. If anybody can get it done, whatever gets done here, Blake, is going to be a right call. I support Donald Trump 100%. I'm all in. Make America great again. Here we go. Gunther Eagleman. What are you telling us, Gunther? Well, first of all, for the kids at home to play along, breaking President Trump heading straight into the Situation Room for a potential Iran deal, ladies and gentlemen. He's laying it out crystal clear. Iran will never get a nuclear weapon, period. That's definite. Hormuz Strait opens not tomorrow, not next week, immediately. No more tolls, no more trolls, no games. Every mine bomb gets removed. We've already swept a bunch with our minesweepers. Now Iran finishes the job. Ships stuck because of our naval blockade can head home to their families. Trump's message to sailors: say hello to your wives, husbands, and parents, and families from me, your favorite president. Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately opened, no tolls, unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions. I guess it's a short clip.
Into the Situation Room for a meeting on this potential Iran deal. I'm going to read the post to you here, so bear with me. He says, Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be immediately open, no tolls for unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions. All water mines, bombs, if any, will be terminated. We have removed, through detonation, numerous such mines with our great underwater mine sweepers. Iran will complete the immediate removal and or detonation of any mines that are left, which will not be many. Ships caught in the strait due to our amazing and unprecedented naval blockade, which will now be lifted, may start the process of heading home. Say hello to your wives, husbands, parents, and families from me, your favorite president. The enriched material, sometimes referred to as nuclear dust, which is buried deep underground into the Situation Room.
All right. So the big news there is the president's, gone to the Situation Room. Obviously, things are coming in. He's working hard, and he's determined to work over the weekend. Now, we know, and really always credit to Blake. Blake was the one that announced it first on this channel, and it was beautiful, very prophetic, not pathetic, prophetic. Blake was right on top of this. He said there's not going to be anything happening on a Friday. If there's any military action to take place, wait till the market's closed. Trump's smart. He knows how to protect the market, and he would do any attack on the weekend where the markets are closed. So, Blake, your thoughts on the Situation Room? Think Trump's going to pull this off? Are we going to get a dove, or are we going to get a hawk? Hawk or dove? Which way is this thing going to go if you were to toss a coin in the air and it were to land heads, tails? Where are we going to get, peace or war?
Well, I think it's all going to depend on Iran if they're going to continue to work with the old world order to cause nothing but havoc in the region and do this skim We're going to call it for what it. Trump called it for what it is. I mean, it's costing people money around the world, all citizens, because of this skim that they do through the Strait of Hormuz, where they've been shaking down every vessel that goes through there. And the City of London's been part of that program, and they make money off of it. And that's the problem. And so I think he's kind of, Trump's much like Muhammad Ali, right? As a boxer, right? You never know what he's going to do. If he's going to come out, strike really quick, or is he going to rope a dope a bit and take the hits and kind of look like he's slow until boom, you get the knockout punch. So again, here we are at a weekend. This is his classic thing. So if I was Iran, if you're not going to play ball, expect at 12 midnight tonight, things are going to heat up. Right. So, but I think he wants a 60-day pause. I think he's trying to calm things down with him, give him a chance. Then if they don't, then they're going to get some haymakers again. That's just what's going to keep happening until they finally break, because you don't have to. We're not trying to do a regime change here. I think in the MAGA sphere, I think the point MAGA doesn't tolerate endless wars. But you can sit on the outside and block them in. And guess what? There is high-speed construction efforts now to move pipelines to move over to the Red Sea, right? So they're already doing it. Yeah, and you know what? I would even argue they're probably looking at running pipelines through Israel to the Mediterranean too. Why not? I mean, just build more, just literally shut out the Strait of Hormuz if that's the case. You just move it elsewhere. But you'll notice all the other Arab states and the Middle Eastern states are all in alignment now, except for Iran. Except Iran and Oman, I think is the other one.
I think you might get my take on this. I think he's going to do it peacefully. He wants to do it peacefully.
Oh, of course he does, but he still has to hold the knockout punch if they're not going to listen.
He already laid out what we need. We need the uranium. We need no nuclear weapon, but I think it's going to be a peaceful conclusion. My instincts are gleaning that way, Blake. I think he's got enough aces up the sleeve. He's got, like you said, the alliance of the Arab nations are all there, and the pressure on Iran must be immense. They know they're going to lose in any shootout, and they know that Trump's not a bluffer. I think they need to understand he's a guy of peace. He wants peace. But if you play hardball, I'll turn your whole country into dust. He's kind of that guy to do it. He'd protect the people to the extent he's able to. He wants to free the people of Iran. Doesn't want to see any of them hurt, but he wants to see that evil cancer within that country excised as cleanly and painlessly as possible. But it's going to require. If they go the war route, it's going to require boots on the ground. It's going to require boots on the ground anyway, just for oversight. But he wants that uranium because that leads to Hillary Clinton. That leads to Obama. Lots of stories there.
Well, I think Iran still has like Canada, very similar. I mean, except Canada isn't lobbing missiles and blocking people from traveling through its waters and taking a shakedown of everybody passing through, forcing them to put out multi-million-dollar insurance policies on everything passing through there. But there's very similar. I think Trump also gives the grace side that you're allowed to save face if you agree to these terms to your people. Like, I will allow you to show that you guys get a win to your own people too, right? So that you can do that. But that's the same for Canada. You got to lay out an agreement that allows a government not to collapse. Because if a government collapses, then you got a vacuum. Then you're getting into a problem with it. Then you get Taliban type scenario like what's happened in Afghanistan, where it's a bloody disaster. So you need a strong central government still in place. But you want them to be freed up from the manipulation and control of these influencers.
Yeah, the people. It's got to be for the people. Okay.
And hopefully they can get there. But do I think anything happens? I'm not going to project anything. It's now the weekend. He's laid out some terms. He may start throwing haymakers again tonight at 12 midnight.
Right. So you're not getting feed one way or the other on the thing.
No, and he won't do that. Trump. Trump will not lay his cards out.
He won't tip. He won't reveal his hand. All we know is that we do know that he would prefer the way of peace in order to do it less messy. It just better all the way.
I think that's what he wants. That's
whether he'll be able to get that. I just think there's enough pressure on the Iranians where they may say, the jig's up, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. There's another story going right now. This is a beautiful story. Trump's cleaning America up, and Washington, D.C. is beautifying. Trump is a man of aesthetic. He likes style and things of beauty. He's got all these values. These basically traditional conservative values. The headline on this is racism. What's going on? The left is calling Trump racist for cleaning up Washington, D.C. Let's take a look at what he's been up to. Beautiful song.
President Trump has basically laid out a blueprint for the renewal of any city in America. This fountain sat broken for nearly 2 decades. This grand entrance to the Capitol was a symbol of neglect versus one of inspiration. President Trump understands something important, which is great countries build great things, but a choice was made about restoration over deterioration, and a choice was made about beauty over blight. Together, we're restoring a capital city that reflects the strength, the beauty, and most importantly, it represents the promise of the United States of America.
God bless America. All right.
Have you seen the before and after shots?
Yeah, it's remarkable. And there was graffiti on it from the protesters. And then there were homeless camps out there. The water was putrid and algae filled and a mosquito fest. It was just awful. And Trump's right. It's the capital of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever been privileged enough to travel to London, England, I have. The statuary in England, Trafalgar Square, the architecture, it's so glorious and so awe-inspiring. It tells you why Britain is great, why it's Great Britain, and the scale, the sheer scale and beauty of the monuments that England puts together. They're truly, truly masterful and powerful expressions of national prestige.
Or at least America, we don't know now.
And America owes that as well.
Well, you have to be proud of your country's history, its roots. And as anybody says, nobody's perfect, but to have a more perfect union is you've learned through the efforts of these people in the past, and you can't judge them from the time of how people thought from that time period. But you found their thoughts through their actions over time has brought you to this point of freedom and liberty.
Yeah, you can't retcon LGBTQ plus gender diversity and DEI on 17 to 76.
Because it didn't exist, those ideas. And matter of fact, a lot of these ideas, Marxism didn't exist until Marx and Engels. It was a foreign idea. It never existed.
Yeah, good point.
So I think this is the infection we're still fighting. And that's what happens. These guys hate capitalism. They hate freedom. They hate individual liberty. And I say that individual because they're collectivists. They do not want that. And that's why these monuments stood in the way of that belief system. So you're fighting a Marxist war for these college students that have been infected, and it's masked as progressives and all this kind of, they can rebrand who they were. So a guy like Mum Danny is just another progressive Marxist trying to run their city into the toilet. So it's a great video. It's important. I think it should be a symbol to anywhere, as you said, Great Britain. That's why I was saying, I wonder if it's still that way now, as you described, because with Keir Starmer and the insane leftist ideas. They haven't.
Yeah, they've done some stuff. They've added some artistic leftist art, free art structures in Trafalgar Square, but Nelson's column remains. St. Mary's, Marylebone, that church over to the right is still there as you look towards the National Museum. So
Yeah.
all that's still there. Canada actually has the building to the left of it as you're looking, I believe, looking north, right at the National Museum. There's a huge long building. It's called Canada House, and so it's a site of prestige. And the fact that Canada has that primo real estate right next door to Trafalgar is quite a statement of respect from the mother country to us.
Well, and we were backup plan during World War II, where the monarchy would escape to if they had to, if the Germans had invaded successfully into the UK. So
yeah, there'd be a lot more eagles with a little swastika around.
But Canada would become the New England essentially at that point.
Yeah, the fleeing of the royal family, something on that order, because we're safe under the cover of the Americans. Okay, let's take a look. We got another story. We got a few more to
I put something in there too in the private chat. It's a great link. We should chat about it too, because
sure. Well,
closing out of our Tuesday's discussion about the primaries.
Let's see. Okay, I got my own on this, so that's groovy.
This one nailed it down point by point by point. It's great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll let what's his name? I forget. Bill Hammer do the thing. I got, because I was just going to do it now. So we're on the great minds think alike. Blake, simple ones do too. So that's the scary thing about that. But okay, here we go. Boom. Here's Bill Hammer to talk about what Blake's talk about. Trump's perfect record. Governors endorsed 818. U.S. House endorsed 101. U.S. Senate endorsed 919. Ken Paxton was outspent 9-1. He still won. MAGA is the grand old party. Let's take a look at Bill. It's a minute 24. We'll go a little over time here. Let's play.
Races and Senate races. This is his scorecard, okay? He has endorsed 8 governors. Now, some of these races weren't real close, didn't have a lot of competition, but some of them did. I mean, we saw what happened in Louisiana, the primary of Bill Cassidy. We saw what happened a week ago tonight with Tom Massey in Kentucky. And now we're seeing it again tonight, okay, in Texas. Governor level, Trump endorsed 8. He won 8 times. U.S. House, 101 endorsed. He won 101 endorsed in the House, and he won 101. Let me put on the pencil right here and show you this. U.S. Senate, Sean, he has endorsed 8 candidates. And prior to tonight, he had won 8 times. And now you can take the endorsement from 8 to 9 endorsed, and from 8 to 9 winner. Ken Paxton was outspent 9-1. Got the endorsement from Trump, got the endorsement of Wesley Hunt, the congressman who got knocked out 2.5 months ago. And now we got the setup in Paxton and Tellerico. Many Republicans felt if John Cornyn could win tonight, that he could be an easy winner over Tellerico. We'll never know that now. And a lot of Republicans felt that they could save a lot of money too if Cornyn won. But that did not happen. Here's what will happen, Sean, in November. In Texas, probably the most expensive Senate race that we have seen ever. I mean, we were looking at some of the numbers.
All right. It goes on. The point about all that is, they were heralding that the president's done. MAGA is dead in the water. There's a hilarious one floating around with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey out in Caribbean, or they're somewhere out in Bahamas or some on a yacht. And some guy writes, some smart ass wrote the headline above it goes, "He's banging her, isn't he?" And because they're out sports fishing out and something, and they're forming a new party to try and divide MAGA. It's not going to go anywhere. They'll get the libertarian vote. That'll be it. The libertarians aren't going to be enough to break. There's just not enough there for them to do any significant damage to MAGA. MAGA is still going to be going ahead straight on, full on.
Well, and what I think my point would be to libertarians or even independents that swing, especially those swing votes in those independent areas, is what is your alternative? If you vote, any vote for any other party on the quote unquote right would then take a vote away to put a Democrat in power. So all you're going to get is your idea is to make things worse is your answer to fix what you don't like. And it won't fix it. So doesn't matter. So it's almost like they abuse themselves and don't like an idea of things getting better. It's like if you're in a perpetual state of opposition, I think that's the problem here. Everywhere. We see it even here, even on the right in Canada. I don't think we could tolerate the idea of actually winning because we've been in opposition for so long, fighting the elites. And there's doing down there, they don't know how to handle themselves. They don't know how to be in power. And I think that's the difference. So all of a sudden you have to make decisions that affect millions and millions, if not billions of people around the world. They'd rather just sit back and be in their armchair quarterbacks and to be their podcasts and video shows because we're doing it. But, we're not in power and we'll support where we support and where we don't, we don't. But that's different from these guys. I don't think they can handle it. I think they love being in perpetual opposition because it gives limelight.
Well, there's money. They get donors.
It's the only thing they know how to do. They don't know how to govern.
Yeah, but there's money to be made in it. As you imagine,
well, exactly. YouTube
money.
Or whatever, you create an opposite. That's why I think a lot of these YouTubers / podcasters all of a sudden have turned against Trump over one thing. And I will point out, and here's for all those people that are saying Trump's endorsement tracker. Did you just hear what that guy just said? He
Bill
said,
Bill Hammer.
Paxton was outspent 9-1.
Yeah.
I mean, so who is backing it? So all those people saying, oh, Trump's just another AIPAC agent for Israel. Okay, well, I can guarantee that AIPAC wanted John Cornyn in there. Yeah. That's their guy because they like stability. But yet Massey's saying, yeah, all the AIPAC money went to who's the guy who ran in
Paxton, Ken Paxton.
No, against Massey.
Against Cornyn.
Gilheim isn't that his name? Sorry. No, not against Cornyn. I'm talking about Massey.
Thomas Massey. Okay. Yeah, he went against crazy Guggenheim.
Yeah. So he had a lot of money thrown behind him against Massey.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to say it was Israel, trying to trick everybody and it cheated on the vote.
Yeah.
Well, it's then here it's the opposite. So if you're trying to say it's Israel is the problem here, Israel's not the problem here. Trump is voting for people and endorsing people. Sorry, endorsing, not voting, but endorsing people that believe in MAGA. And if you're going to push the agenda through, that's where you get endorsement. But the fact that he has a winning strategy at 100%, nobody gets 100%. No. I mean, you and I could never predict, what do they call it? The poly market. If you're on the poly market, we'd be millionaires or billionaires. With Trump,
it's unbelievable the power. So Trump's got control of the party now. Thune is going to go. He's going to go. He's been resisting the Save Act, passive Save Act. That's all eyes on. We're going to see that. Scott Pressler also won his. He was running at a lower level of government, but he won his race in Pennsylvania. And he is talking about actually running against Thune in order to remove him and primary him. So keep your eyes on that.
Well, and it just shows that the elites are still there and Trump is fighting for the little guy.
Yeah, the battle continues, Blake. Absolutely.
And a lot of the time, the spending in this fight that just happened on Tuesday where Paxton won was monumental against Paxton financially, but yet still won. So was Trump. When he ran, he was outgunned financially. Similar numbers. The Democratic machine, the Rhino machine, it was just so
really
powerful.
It was a Clinton machine is what he was up against. But anyway, okay, listen, we talked earlier about Justin, and we like to end the show on a light note all the time. So we're talking about Justin Trudeau and paternity issues. And I know a lot of you fellas out there, the woman always knows. The woman always knows it's my child. Okay, they know. The girls know. It's biology. But you dads out there, sometimes you don't know it's your own kid. And it can be quite terrifying and insecure. Here's one such father doing a paternity test. You can try this home yourselves, Dad, with your young ones. And I just hope it goes as well for you as it does for this wonderful father. Let's take a look at the clip, Blake. Okay, here's Dad in question. Cat turd goes, no DNA tested required for this one. Let's go full scale. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Okay, there's Dad. All right. There can be no doubt that's a happy dad. That's his little bruiser right there. Oh, and then so, pretty darn cute. Like, any plans for the weekend? What do you got going for yourself this fine? Beautiful weather. Summer's coming.
Well, it got cold really fast all of a sudden. Yesterday was in the daytime, it was 20 some odd degrees. Yeah. And then by night it was down to a single digit last night. And
when that happens,
it got cold, sucked all the heat out. But yeah, we got our grandson coming over tonight, and we'll have him for the day tomorrow. So we'll take him out and go do something.
Oh, wonderful. That's the greatest thing, being a grandparent. What a blessing that is, right? Maybe go to look at the little fella tonight, just kind of go, just to remove any questions of doubt. All right,
That's
everybody,
right.
thank you so much for being here for the political nooner. We have so much fun. It's now time to listen to a MASH record. Whoa, MASH, the soundtrack. Suicide is Painless, the old song.
That should have been the Immigrants. We should have played that earlier this week.
That's painful. All right. Take care, everybody. We love you. Thank you, Blake, so much for all your help with this thing.
Thank you.
It's always fun to be with you. Take care, everybody. Give us a thumbs up. Share the video. You know the drill.